Okay, so in our last lecture, we saw that there is a jump in specific heat as you go below the superconducting transition, and this jump in specific heat corresponds to a second order phase transition. We also estimated how much was the size of the jump, and the size of the jump was proportional to this energy scale, which is expressed in terms of the critical field hc square hc square. Okay, now what does it mean to have a jump in specific heat microscopically? Okay, to get, let us first try and understand this very quickly. So this is something that you would have encountered in statistical mechanics, is that or even in your condensed matter course, is that suppose let us take a two level system. Okay, and you have a gas of two levels, so let us take this is 0 and delta, and the energy is 0 and this is energy is equal to delta. So these two states are separated by an energy scale delta. Okay, now if you have multiple such so you have let's say atoms which have these two levels. Okay, at a finite temperature T, you keep this entire gas of atoms at that finite temperature T, and you would like to find out how many are at ground state, how many are at, what is the probability that a particle is in the ground state, what is the probability that the particle is in the excited state, either in E is equal to 0 or E is equal to delta. Okay, now to find that out and what is the specific heat of such a gas, the partition function Z is of course 1 plus e raised to minus beta delta. Okay, and from Z you can find out the U, which is of course kb t square delta ln Z by delta T. So U would be kb delta e raised to minus beta delta divided by 1 plus e raised to minus beta delta. This is your internal energy of the system, and if you take the specific heat, then the specific heat, which is del u by del t, sorry, let's just delete this. The specific heat, which is del u by del t, if you do a little bit of working out and manipulation of the terms, then this is equal to delta by t square e raised to beta delta by 1 plus e raised to beta delta the whole square. This is the behavior of the specific heat. Okay, and if you look at the behavior of the specific heat as a function of temperature, the behavior of specific heat as a function of temperature, then this specific heat as a function of temperature shows a very characteristic peak. Okay, there is a very definite characteristic peak in the specific heat, okay, which occurs at a very characteristic temperature. Okay, we'll come to that, what is the temperature scale. Okay, so why is there such a peak in the specific heat? That's one thing. And if you recall, so there is a jump in specific heat. It's not that it is monotonically changing or it is monotonically decreasing. If you have a metal free electron gas inside the solid, you know that it is monotonically decreasing as you decrease the temperature. It has a form gamma T plus AT cube. However, here you see that the specific heat goes through a peak with a maximum at some characteristic temperature scale. So what is that characteristic temperature scale? So to find that out, let us look at the probability for occupying the E equal to 0 state, that is 1 by Z. Okay, and the probability for E equal to delta state is e raised to minus beta delta divided by Z. Okay, and if you plot this probability, as a function of temperature, if this is half, then this is the lower energy state and this is the probability of okay, this is the behavior of the two probabilities. Okay, Now, at low temperatures, what this probability? This is the probability of the two energy states. Now, what you can see is that at low temperatures, the probability of occupying the lower energy state is much higher than the probability of occupying the higher energy state. Then that is natural, because kBT, the thermal energy, is much less than the gap between the two energy states delta. So most of the particles in the gas will be occupying the lower energy state. This has a probability of almost 1. Okay, and as a result, because the thermal energy cannot do much, it cannot cause any excitation, from the lower to the higher energy state. This is forbidden, as a result of which your internal energy will not change. With a small change in temperature, dt at low temperature, because the gap is too large, the spacing between the energies is too large, so that the small change in temperature is not sufficient to cause an excitation, and as a result the internal energy will not change, and so the specific heat will not change. Okay, so it will be very low. Okay, the specific heat will be very low. Again, at high temperature, you see that the probability is half, namely you have equal probability of the lower or the upper excited state being occupied. So there is almost half probability of lower, so equal number of as many number that you are having out of the total number of atoms, as many number of atoms are occupying the lower energy state, as many which are occupying the higher energy state. So a small change in energy is not going to change this distribution. Okay, it will remain exactly identical, so therefore the internal energy is not going to change. When will the U change of the gas? When will the U change? The internal energy of the system will change when, at intermediate temperatures, so at intermediate temperature, when kBT is of the order of delta. Here, a small change in dt will be sufficient to take it into the higher excited state, and from 0 to delta. Okay, so your energies are such that the thermal energy is sufficient to cause a change in the internal energy of the system, and because the internal energy changes sufficiently, therefore you have a large change in your specific heat. So this is at a temperature of delta by kb. So at a temperature of delta by kb, your specific heat changes drastically. So as you approach this transition where there is so at this point there is a jump in specific heat, because you cause a lot of excitation from the lower energy state to the higher energy state. Similarly, in the case of the specific heat of the superconductor, the specific heat as a function of temperature this jump in specific heat corresponds to an opening of a gap delta. This is a gap in the energy spectrum. So these are not two infinitely close energy levels. These are separated by a gap. So similarly, an opening of a gap in the superconducting state, or when the superconductor turns when the superconductor turns normal, when the material turns superconducting, let me correct myself, when the material turns superconducting, then there is an opening of a gap, energy gap, in the density of states of the material. So briefly recall here the idea, the concept that you have been familiar in condensed matter physics about the density of states. The density of states of a free electron gas as a function of energy goes like this, where here it is proportional to e raised to half, and this is your Fermi energy. So everything up to your Fermi energy is occupied and everything above the Fermi energy is empty. Now this is as far as a normal material is concerned, T greater than Tc. What happens below the superconducting transition, T less than Tc, as the material becomes superconducting? Let us look at the density of states as a function of temperature. If this is your Fermi energy, then around the Fermi energy, the available states, these are the available states. What I am shading here are the available states, but around the Fermi energy, EF minus delta, EF plus delta, in this range of EF, no states are available. So it becomes a forbidden region. This is a forbidden region, or a gap in the density of states of electrons in the material. So when you cool the sample below Tc, okay, whereas in a normal metal you have states which are available both above and below the Fermi energy, okay, and Fermi energy just marks the point up to which electrons are filled inside the system. It depends on the density of electrons. However, in the case of a superconductor, this picture undergoes a modification, and it's actually quite a drastic modification, because now what you see is that you don't have a continuum of density of states across the Fermi energy. In a region of 2 delta around the Fermi energy, there is a gap in the density of states. There are no states which are allowed. Single particle states are not available for electrons to occupy. Electrons can occupy all energy states which are less than EF minus delta or EF plus delta, but within this region you cannot have any single particle states. So this corresponds to a jump in the density of this corresponds to a jump in specific heat. Whenever there is a transition into the superconducting state at Tc, you are going to cause these excitations across this gap, and this sudden excitations across the gap, and it is these excitations which are responsible for the high specific heat, for the increase in the specific heat above the normal state. Whereas this is the normal state, and you can cause small excitations around the Fermi energy. Such small excitations excitations are not possible, and only with higher energy can you cause an excitation around the this thing. So here the KBTC is of the order of the size of the gap. Okay, this is an important thing, is that if you look at this picture, you can get an estimate of the TC. We will do a better job of this. Okay, but just by looking at this concept that there is a gap which opens up in the gap which opens up in the density of states, you can estimate your superconducting transition temperature as of the order of the size of the gap, which is where you have a jump in specific heat. So this actually leads us to the microscopic understanding of superconductivity, which will be in the subsequent set of lectures. That we will lead all these concepts which we are building up will ultimately lead us to the microscopic picture of superconductivity. However, before we leave this topic, there is one more small topic which I will quickly cover, namely the behavior of the specific heat or behavior of the free energy of the material in the presence of a magnetic field.